Silver is trading below its historic nominal highs, not even factoring in inflation. And silver equities and precious metals equities at large, commodity as equities at large, have drastically underperformed. So I feel like even if there is a crash, I don't think this sector gets hurt. But to really answer your question, look, I just take what the market gives me. And what the market's giving me right now is a clear sign that we are in a gold bull market, no question. And I have time right now to continue to add to silver because the ratio is above the 80-1.
For years, silver investors have heard the same story: tight supply, rising industrial demand, and a looming deficit that should, in theory, send prices soaring. Yet, despite these fundamentals, silver's price has remained stubbornly range-bound, leaving many wondering, when will the breakout finally happen? Well, the wait might finally be over. A combination of factors is now aligning to create what could be the most explosive moment for silver in decades. Persistent supply deficits, driven by increasing industrial demand, especially from the green energy sector, are straining the market. Silver is a crucial component in solar panels, electric vehicles, and other emerging technologies, yet mining output has struggled to keep pace. Meanwhile, above-ground inventories are steadily declining, and premiums on physical silver remain tight, signaling a squeeze in available supply. On top of that, central banks and governments are making moves that could have a profound impact on silver's trajectory. The gold-silver ratio remains a key metric, and with gold recently breaking out to new highs, many believe silver is severely undervalued. Some analysts, like Ed Steer, argue that we are in the fifth consecutive year of a silver supply deficit, and when the market finally recognizes this reality, the price could rise by many orders of magnitude. But what will be the trigger? Could it be geopolitical tensions, like Russia adding silver to its central bank reserves? Could it be tightening supplies in Western vaults, with London Bullion Market Association inventories dropping significantly in early 2024? Or could it be a broader market realization that physical silver is far scarcer than paper contracts suggest? In a recent interview with Commodity Culture, Shaun Kungun, the CEO of Dolly Varden Silver, breaks down these factors in detail, explaining why the silver market is approaching a breaking point. More importantly, he provides insight into whether the long-awaited price explosion is already underway and what could finally push silver into triple-digit territory. As we present clips from the interview, please like and share this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notifications bell for instant alerts. We appreciate the support and hope you enjoy the video.
I think the way to sum up is that just persistent supply deficits. That is the way I'd sum it up. And, there's, 7 main contributors to that. Whether we look at, the green transition, silver as a monetary metal, the gold to silver ratio. It's essentially just the deficit that continues, right? That's the main macro trend. And what's so rewarding is we've had those fundamentals in place for some time. And I think there was a lot of speculators, investors that were getting frustrated, and they're saying, we don't want to hear about this anymore. We've seen this bull case for silver, and the price isn't moving, and the price isn't moving up, or the price is going down. And what's great, Jesse, now is we're in an environment where we are seeing the price move up. We're seeing incredible price appreciation, and maybe for some it's not fast enough, it's not strong enough, and it's not keeping up to gold as much as they'd like it to. But ultimately, nobody can argue with the numbers and the math. And the fact is, all of these factors, the challenging in silver mining, the geopolitical uncertainty, the tightness on premiums in the physical market, this is why the price is moving up.
Where are we, do you think, in that structural deficit? And when do you think it becomes obvious to the market at large?
Mm-hmm. Well, specifically the many orders of magnitude in terms of rise, I think it depends on how severe the supply crisis becomes, right? And so, that rising industrial demand, the stagnant mine supply, the declining above ground inventories, and the paper versus the physical market, and that the difference there. I guess what you're really asking is, what's the trigger point? And look, I think it's all of the above. And I think, and I agree with Ed Steer, and I follow his work, and anytime there's an opportunity to hear his take on things, I think for everything that we've laid out, that and why we've seen the price move the way we have. But it's a question of, in order to get the many magnitudes, it's a question of what's the trigger point, and the difficult thing I think we all find is, like, if we take gold as an example, gold was range bound for a number of years. And the range that I'm referring to was a range that it was in from 2013 to 2019. So gold was in this after rising from, call it 200 to 2000. It spent 6 years in a range, 1,000 on the low, 1,300 on the high. What was the trigger that sent gold through 1,350 in the spring of 2019? What was the trigger? Was it central banks buying? Was it dwindling mine supply? Was it gold being the idea of it becoming a tier one asset? Like, what was the trigger point? When we look back, and right now, April silver, or May silver is like close to $35 here. Are we going to look back and say Vladimir Putin bringing silver into his precious, the Russian central bank's precious metal basket? Was it that? Was it Trump's tariffs and the LBMA inventories going down over 8% in the month of January alone, right? Like, what are we going to point to? And I think the other way to look at this is, is it happening? Like, are we in the midst of it right now? And in terms of the triggering to the many magnitudes, like, I guess, maybe the way to look at it is, what's going to cause triple digit silver? I think everything that we've outlined here all are going to play into a steady, consistent, stable, sustained rise in the silver price.
Shaun has made it clear, silver's supply deficit is undeniable, and the fundamentals supporting a higher price are stronger than ever. But while silver has kept pace with gold's recent rally, history tells us that silver tends to outperform gold in the later stages of a precious metals bull market. So, where exactly are we in this cycle? In previous market cycles, silver's strongest gains have often come after major economic downturns or financial crises. Investors typically rotate into precious metals when other asset classes struggle, seeking safety and tangible stores of value. Yet, this time, something unusual is happening. Gold and silver are performing well despite strength in broader markets. Could this signal a shift in how investors perceive silver's role? Shaun believes the key lies in understanding the bigger picture. With stock markets, real estate, and even riskier assets like cryptocurrencies still holding strong, we haven't yet seen the sector rotation that has historically ignited silver's most dramatic price movements. However, as he points out, precious metals are already in a confirmed bull market, and silver, despite trading below its historical highs, remains an undervalued asset with significant upside potential. The real question now is, what will it take for silver to break free from gold's shadow and lead the charge? And more importantly, will this time be different from past cycles? Shaun dives deeper into these questions next.
I think that in the past, where precious metals, you're asking specifically about silver, but before we specifically go there, I want to start with precious. Because despite record high gold prices, that's occurred at a time where other asset classes are still performing quite well. And so I think if you study the precious metals bull markets of the past, what you'll see is you really want to see that sector rotation. Right now, are we in the beginning innings of a gold to S&P breakout? right? Are we starting to see that? And so I want to start with the idea that let's celebrate how well both gold and silver have done, despite the strength of everything else, the everything bubble that we've competed against. Why are gold and silver doing so well in an environment where, like, a lot of the historical evidence that it would say gold and silver should be down when you have all of the other factors that exist in the world today? So I think let's start there. But and then as we look at, well, when's silver really going to get going? Historically, that's been on the back of a sector rotation. That's been on the back of other markets not moving up as fast or even declining. I've got some friends who have done extremely well in previous cycles, and some of them are in, some of them are all in, but some of them are actually on the sidelines going, we're waiting for a crash. We'll buy this market because every other time in history, particularly with silver gets going on the back of a crash. And then it does fantastically well. Because there's a fear that if there is a nasty correction, or heaven forbid a crash, that silver's going to get hurt, and so is gold. But my argument is, when I look back at, say, the last major, longer crash that we've had in recent history, it would be 2008, right? The difference between today and, say, 07, pre-crash, was particularly precious metals and precious metals equities had moved up a lot, from the early part of 2000. If you go back and look at companies like, Barrick, okay? Barrick was like over $50 a share, right? And my point here is Barrick had room to crash, is elevated. So was the price of gold. The price of gold had gone from 200 to 1,000. It was up 5 times. My argument today is, particularly with silver, silver is trading below its historic nominal highs, not even factoring in inflation. And silver equities and precious metals equities at large, commodity as equities at large, have drastically underperformed. So I feel like even if there is a crash, I don't think this sector gets hurt. But to really answer your question, look, I just take what the market gives me. And what the market's giving me right now is a clear sign that we are in a gold bull market, no question. And I have time right now to continue to add to silver because the ratio is above the 80-1.
As we've heard from Shaun, the silver market is at a pivotal moment. Supply deficits continue to mount, industrial demand is rising, and geopolitical factors are creating an environment where silver could experience a historic breakout. While past cycles suggest that silver's biggest gains come after broader market downturns, the current landscape presents a unique dynamic. Gold and silver are already moving higher, despite continued strength in other asset classes. This raises a crucial question. Are we witnessing a shift in how silver behaves within the financial system? Will this precious metal finally decouple from traditional patterns and begin its long-awaited surge to triple-digit prices? Or will we see another period of consolidation before the real fireworks begin? One thing is certain, silver's fundamentals have never been stronger. With supply constraints tightening, investor sentiment shifting, and global economic uncertainties mounting, the potential for an explosive move is very real. But as with any market, timing is everything. So, what do you think? Are we already in the early stages of silver's next big run, or is there still one final trigger needed to send prices soaring? Let us know in the comments below, and if you found this discussion insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next deep dive into the precious metals market. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.